迎收睇三藩市市長選舉候選人訪問。Sitting next to me is our candidates, Angela, Alioto. Hello, Angela.
Hello, how are you? Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having us here. So previously, we asked you to choose a place to represent you,
right?
And you chose the Trans-American Pyramid.
Right.
So can you tell your story about this?
Yes. My father was mayor of San Francisco during the 70s, and the pyramid was being built. And everybody was so upset about the pyramid, okay? Nobody wanted the pyramid. And one of the very famous writers for San Francisco, Herb Caen, he had a skyline of the city and he would have the pyramid tilting over. And so it's one of my favorite places because it was built because of my father. Behind it is a redwood forest with trees. Every high-rise that my father had built when he was mayor has a redwood forest behind it. He had vision. People didn't understand it, and now they love it.
Okay, so you're born in San Francisco?
Yes.
How are you raised?
I was born and raised in San Francisco. I have 5 brothers, Lawrence, Joe, John, Thomas, and Michael. I used to say when I was a little kid, Lawrence, Joe, John, Tom, Mike. It was always one name for all 5 brothers. But I'm the only girl, and they waited a long time to have me. And so I'm very spoiled because I was my father's only little girl, right? My mother and father really gave me everything any parents could give to a child, and most importantly is my education. I went to school at the Convent of the Sacred Heart, and then I left there when I was 18, and I went to Low Mountain College for Women, which was an extension of the same nuns. When I was in college, the first year I was pregnant. I got married when I was 18. I was very young, so it was a very big responsibility. I wanted to go to law school, but my husband was Italian. He did not want a woman, his wife, going to law school. So I waited until my baby was going to first grade. I went back to law school. And then I ran for office in '86. I lost my first election. And then I won the second election in 1988 and became the board of supervisors for the whole city. There was no districts. In 1992, I ran for the board presidency, the most votes in the history of the city. And I left City Hall in 1997, and I opened my little law firm here, and I've been doing discrimination, civil rights ever since.
It sounds to me parents and kids and your husband play a really important role in your life.
Yes.
So is there any impact from your parents that influence you to be in the politics?
When my father became mayor, I hated politics. I hated it because it took him away. But then my mother hated it even more than I hated it. So I would go everywhere with my father because she didn't want to go. So I got introduced very early. I remember one of the first dinners I went to was the Emperor of Japan. And then one of my next times with Dad was the King of Norway. So I thought, being mayor was kings and emperors, right? And so I started to think it was a lot of fun, very international. I had no idea that it was the hard work that he did. I think that I learned from my father and my mother my love for the city of San Francisco.
You have many roles in the City Hall and in the government before. So how all this experience shaped you as who you are today?
I'm a civil rights trial lawyer, and I have trials all over the United States, but principally here in California. And I think that all the work I did for minority businesses, for local hiring, I did the hate crime law, which was very important for the kind of law I practice. I did all the sexual harassment laws at City Hall, and now I do all of that as lawyer, working with some of the laws that I wrote. So it's been very fascinating. I created the Youth Commission, which was very controversial, and now all the youth commissioners grow up and they go into politics and become doctors and lawyers. And right now, my granddaughter is the president of the Youth Commission that I wrote 20 years ago. So it's an amazing experience.
You draft a lot of really bold legislation.
Yes.
So which one do you think can represent you the most?
I think all of the health legislation I did that put medicines on the federal list and for HIV and AIDS that became the cocktail, and the cocktail has saved millions of lives. The other most important is banning cigarettes. I banned cigarettes in the workplace. First one in the world. And 2 years ago, the president of Ireland called me and thanked me because Ireland went smoke-free.
If you're elected among all this crisis, which one you think is your priority to tackle with?
Homelessness. I did a plan with Gavin Newsom in 2004, and it's called the 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness, and it absolutely worked. We gave housing to over 11,000 people. 4,000 were chronically homeless. The hardest group of people to take off the streets is chronic, people who have been there a long time. The easiest group of people to take off the streets are women who have been there a short time. I would immediately, as mayor, start taking off the people who just got on the streets. And then I would work at the issue of the tents. And the tents are generally chronically homeless.
You ran for mayor twice before,
Yes.
so, and anything changed since your last campaign?
Yes. This is a different world. The internet has changed campaigns. The internet has made some things very easy, like raising money. You know, you just give somebody a place to donate and they go with their credit card. Other things are much more difficult because there's many more debates, panels, endorsement meeting, candidate night, candidate meet and greet. There are at least 75 debates I've gone to, debates and panels and endorsements and candidates that didn't exist in 2003. The internet has brought so many more groups together, and because for us, the internet has got it on TV. And so in that way, there's much more exposure to me, that people can see the debates.
Since the last campaign and during now, so what problems do you think San Francisco is facing?
Oh, I'm a born and raised San Franciscan. Mm-hmm. I'm running for mayor because I think the city is losing its soul. Absolutely losing its soul. Dirty, filthy streets, homelessness all over, crime, you know, not just cars, crime, people breaking into your house. We don't have enough police officers. We need more police officers back in San Francisco the way it was when I was growing up. And I think that will make a major difference. And then the fourth most amazing difference in San Francisco is we're so congested, we're so crowded, and nobody has the ability to live here because it's so expensive. And everybody wants to live here. We need to build much more.
Among all the candidates, so which aspect do you think you shines out or different from other candidates?
My experience. I have so much experience. I'm the only mother. Whether it's experience as being a mother, whether it's experience as being a legislator for 8 years that wrote some of the most important legislation written in years, or whether it's being a civil rights lawyer in the courtroom representing the people who are discriminated against because of who they are, but representing them all over to the highest courts. I went to the Supreme Court of the United States. That's an amazing experience. And it also makes me very confident that there is very little I can't do as mayor of San Francisco. First of all, I think it'd be easier than being a candidate. I am convinced that being a candidate is much harder than being mayor. Second of all, I am a law enforcement person, and I think that that makes me very different from my colleagues. I got the Police Association endorsement, and that's very important to me. You need to get along. The mayor of San Francisco needs to get along with the police department. The police department needs to get along with Homeland Security. My colleagues do not think so. I am the only one that thinks that they should work together. There's a new bill by Senator Wiener that will build houses all over the place. Okay, that's crazy. That is not what San Francisco is. We will have that kind of density in the Richmond district and in the Sunset. It will ruin our city. One of my opponents is for that. So there's a lot of differences between me and my opponents in this race.
we talk about the differences, and so you have to vote for other candidates who will.
That's a very hard question. I don't know yet, but I like Mark Leno very much. He is experienced, and I think that's extremely important. It's very difficult in this IRV to try to pick other people, and none of the candidates have done that yet.
Thank you so much for
Thank you so much.
Alioto as our guest. Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you so much. It's really good being here.